Today, I want to talk to you about devotion and what I learned about devotion from my upbringing in the church and as an evangelical Christian in my upbringing. I was thinking about this morning because I woke up and I said my prayers, and I went to bed last night and I said my prayers, and I realized that growing up in the church, I started going to church when I was about 7. I was taught how to pray. And even though I'm no longer identified as a Christian and I don't attend church, I still pray every day, constantly. And another thing that came to me too that I realized this morning, again, as you do in the shower when you're thinking, is something my parents used to do that they taught me about devotion, their devotion to God and to Christ and to church, is they would get up every morning. They worked really hard. My parents worked really, really hard, very hard workers, and they would wake up about 2 hours before they really needed to, and they would spend the morning in bed. They would drink coffee and they would read their Bibles together and they would pray together and they would do their devotionals together, and they really dedicated their mornings to their spiritual practices. And I grew up having that modeled to me. So even though my spiritual practices look different than that, I can honestly say it was a huge gift to me. And another thing that my parents used to do too is Saturday mornings, there wasn't a lot of sleeping in my house, so I've had to learn to sleep in as an adult. But one way that I used to wake up in the mornings growing up is my parents would put music on. They would put music on in the living room and they'd have it really blasting. It'd be this really beautiful kind of, it was Christian church music, but, had that real holy, godly vibe going on, which I still really dig. And there'd be breakfast going, and there, whether it was winter or summer, rain or shine, there was something about waking up to music like that. And that got me thinking too about when I was a kid and I'd stay the night with my grandfather. He always had a record player and tons of records. And my favorite song that he would play, or that my favorite song growing up was, I like bread and butter, I like toast and jam, that's what baby feeds me, 'cause he's my loving man, right? And so my grandfather knew I loved that song. Pop knew I loved that song, and the way he'd get me out of bed in the morning was he would throw that record on the player. It didn't matter. He could be waking me up in the middle of the night at 2 a.m., at 5 a.m. I would jump out of bed and I would run into the living room in my pajamas and I would just, I like bread and butter, I like toast and jam. So when it comes to devotion, I've realized as I've been thinking about it, that's been part of my practices, is I wake up in the morning and I sit in meditation, which I also call prayer, and I then go into the living room and I turn on my music, and like this morning I turned my music on. I was listening to Katy Perry's Firework this morning and I was crying as I danced around the living room, and not tears of sadness or anything, just, feeling what was rising up in me and allowing Spirit to move through me. So I'm calling this devotion because, devotion is basically love and enthusiasm for a person or a cause or an activity. And I've been in relationships where I've had people say to me, I'm devoted to you. I'm so devoted to you, right? But unless you're devoted to yourself, unless you are devoted to your own practices, unless you are devoted to your own joy, to your own growth, to your own healing, devoted fully to yourself and devoted fully to your own life, it is actually difficult to be devoted to other people. And whatever you believe in, God, spirit, law, universe, it's difficult to be devoted to God, spirit, law, universe if you're not first devoted to yourself, to your own life, devoted to your own joy, devoted to really being embodied in who you are. So Anyway, I don't know who this resonates with or who this is for, but I felt that for whatever reason today we needed to really talk about devotion. So I'm Jessica Amos. I'm a mindfulness and meditation teacher. I'm a relationship coach, and I'm the founder of Stay With Yourself, which is the practice of being who you are, where you are, which to me is devotion. So may you stay with yourself today and always, sending you all the love.